responsible form of leadership when you go around calling for violence. This is, I'm adamant about it. I really insist that no political leaders should call for violence in the country. In Addu, so much damage has been caused to public buildings, but even more importantly, the public records in the judiciary, the entire judiciary has been affected there. The police centers have been torched, and the police training center has been. But this has come following call by MDP and President Nasheed's supporters for violence in a recent demonstration, as you know. The situation is calm now, and I have been out here extending my hands and hoping that there will be more response. I have talked to colleagues in MDP. I'm going to form a government hopefully within the next day or two, but I will still remain open to any overtures, any response from MDP. So yes, in short, your question, to answer to your question, is there has been extensive damage there that will take millions and millions of dollars of investment to recover that. For safety, for visitors and so on, that was also raised. You've been here for a while, I think, for a couple of days, and you can compare. I'm sure you also have been to other countries with this kind of conflict. We have had all government offices open, all schools open, hospitals working, and resorts functioning, and so on. So, despite the fact that we've had deep differences and conflicts, the country continues to function. Everything continues to function here. And I am greatly thankful that no foreign national has been to any harm, as far as I know. And all the tourists who are coming to Maldives are completely safe. And it is for you to judge, although there is tension underlying, the situation has remained relatively calm.
My second question, sir, is there's been a lot of criticism of the Judicial Services Commission and the process through which judges have been vetted and appointed and disciplined or not. When you were vice president, a lot of these things were going on. What do you feel like Maldives has made significant improvements in its justice system since becoming a democracy 3 years ago, in 2008? Or do you feel like that's a largely unaccomplished part of the democratization of the country? How comfortable do you feel that the judiciary is independent and impartial?
You see, no institutions of government today are perfect. Our democracy is very young, and so there are improvements that have to be made in the executive branch. The presidency wasn't functioning as it should be functioning, and there were problems within the executive branch as well. And there are also similar problems in the legislative branch. But, under the constitution that we have today, we are required to respect the independence of the judiciary. Now, the former president, was involved in the appointment of the Supreme Court. And even then, he exercised, extraordinary intervention to force the kind of, Supreme Court that he wanted. The Judicial Service Commission has a number of very prominent people in it. some of the best educated, best talented people in this country. That includes the Speaker of the Parliament, who was a former foreign minister. It includes the head of the Civil Service Commission, the Attorney General, and many educated people in there. Why do we think that one person who is heading the executive branch knows much better than all these other people who are already there in the judiciary and who have the functional and legal responsibility to take action? It is very difficult to justify intervention by the executive, head of the executive branch in the judiciary and threaten the judiciary of its abolition. Threats were made to abolish the lower courts entirely and to reconfigure High Court and the Supreme Court, which he himself established. By doing that, you create the fear and instability and insecurity that goes with their jobs. And this was a huge threat to the judiciary. I don't say that judiciary is perfect. There are things that have to be improved, but there is a process that is laid out. There is a mechanism for that. I advise the President that we have to be patient and not engage in extra constitutional activities. None of your countries will tolerate head of state ordering the military to snatch a court judge, chief judge, and take him off to an undisclosed location without access to lawyers. In a democracy, this is unheard of. Nobody thinks about these things anymore. So it's really unacceptable. There have been a series of actions by the President that undermine the Constitution and that tantamount to go against the Supreme Court Chief Justice's verdicts, and so on and so on. So this is not a single event, and what broke the camel's back was the snatching of a judge and keeping him in detention by the military. And the military was not happy with it either, because they were being issued unlawful orders. So, I mean, there is a pattern to this. Although we are talking about democracy and justice and independence of the judiciary upholding the rule of law, it is those of us who are in the leadership positions who have to demonstrate our commitment to democracy through our behaviors, through the actions and orders that we issue. So I can assure you that my government will never go against the Constitution. It will uphold the Constitution. It will uphold the rule of law and respect the separation of powers that is built into our Constitution. We are committed to democracy. Democracy didn't start 3 years ago. The struggle for democracy started long ago. We have all been part of that process. Mr. Nasheed is not the only one who brought democracy to this country. Of course, he was the most militant one and most famous one. But there were many people in this country who struggled for democracy. And when Mr. Nasheed wanted to get elected, he didn't have support he needed. So he came to all of us for support. He came to me. I come from a different political party. And I supported him. We didn't win first round. Second round, we went and asked all the other political parties, and then we won. But as soon as we won, he decided to chase out everybody and go by himself. That was the beginning of a political situation that has grown and deepened in the country. So we need some healing here. And to do that, you need a bit of calm and quiet. And I am committed to this process. I know I have the capacity. I know I will be fair and allow this situation to improve. As an indication of my commitment, I have said that no one from my party will get a cabinet post. I will open all possibilities to all the other political parties, including MDP,